Show. Your hosts for the evening: Molly Dorst, Jim Beard, and Lefty the Video Jedi.
Whoa! It has been a hot minute, as the kids say. Hashtag facts. But I'm back today with COVID. I currently have COVID. I have one eye that has decided to just check out. It's just decided that it's cashed out for the night. It doesn't care. But what I am doing, and I decided to do this anyway tonight. A, it's been 2 weeks. It's too long. And B, is that I'm still going to give you value today. And you let me know at the end if me having COVID, sounding like this, looking like this, changed any of the value that I gave you today. Okay? And if it did, then I don't know what to tell you. But there's good stuff in here if you guys decide to use it. All right?
And let us know whether you're live or on the replay. If you want to support Jim, give him some one-eyed love. Put your winky faces in the comments today.
Yeah, there you go. Sometimes your eyes just decide not to play along, and that's okay. So today we're talking about live streaming and how it's essentially like an open forum or a town hall. That's the way I like to relate it to. I interviewed Steve Larson at one point, and he equates every single piece of content to an old piece of content that already exists. And at the end of the interview, he goes, "You're so into live streaming, and I've never really considered it. What do you think live streaming is like for old media?" And I sat there and I thought about it for a long moment, and I came to the determination it's more like a town hall, because you have a panel at the front. You have people that you are authority figure of some sort, even if only a minute amount. And then you have the audience, the town hall, who gets to contribute and put in their inputs, and then that can change the course of what the content that is given. And I really love live streaming. I love this. Okay. I love talking with you guys, getting instant feedback, and then what you give to us impacts where we go from there, if that makes sense. So if you want to create, there's a couple different good reasons for live streaming. One, you don't know what to create. Okay. So you create a fun frame of which you can play in to where you don't have to ham it up and be, the skinny mic. All right, come on down. You don't have to do all that. You just enjoy your frame that you've created. And anyone can do this. Anyone. So my example was X's and O's game show. Okay. And I created little bits of content out of that as well. And then it had so many tertiary benefits. And let me get into a couple here for a second before I jump into X's and O's. But the first one is gave me content, endless amounts of content. And I just mixed up the faces. I enjoyed my frame that I had created. I created a fun game frame that we could all enjoy together. We had a shared experience online. I became friends with everyone that was on the show, whether they were a contestant or an expert. I did business with many of them. I have generated well in excess of $100,000 from those relationships. And they refer me, they recommend me on ClickFunnels. Whenever someone is looking for video work or whatever, they all slam those posts for me. And this is all out of just this little live stream gathering that I had once a week. And it eventually became bi-weekly because it was a logistical, it was a lot to get together 12 people, one place, one time. But it was a tremendous amount of fun. And I had the pressure taken off of me to be this amazing host because I had 11 other people that all had amazing, wonderful, unique personalities, perspective, viewpoints, experiences that could be injected into the show that would then carry that for me. And what I did is I would enjoy my own show. I really want you to think about that for a second. I enjoyed my own show as if I was experiencing it just like them because I made this fun frame. And so I was learning how to be a host from my guests. Every show that went by, I would pick up these amazing little things from all these wonderful experts. And from even some of the contestants, I learned things from them. And I would borrow those things, I'd incorporate those things into the next episode. B.B. King, one of my favorite quotes by him. I love B.B. King. He said, if you like how someone does something or they say something or they have this cool little it quality about them, take it. But don't just take it. I take it an extra step beyond B.B. King. Don't just take it, but spin it your way. Make it uniquely yours. Have a call center. Make it uniquely yours. It's really, really important to make it your own. Initially, you're copying for the most part. You're modeling. But then with time, you should make it your own.
Yeah.
Okay? Anything we do is modeling something else. And that's cool. And then eventually, once we can stand on our own feet, we make it our own. Okay? So, what is happening? Oh, the cat's trying to escape. The cat's trying to escape currently. Currently doing this on the window.
Pizza Hut is calling my house.
Oh, is that what it is? Oh, fair enough. And the dog.
And the dog.
Anyway, so when I was doing that show, I get to experience all these amazing people. Wow, Tammy Fink was actually one of those amazing people that I got to learn from. She came on the show, she experienced the show, and then I got to learn some of this amazing teachings, and like her charisma is absolutely fantastic. And I got to learn by watching her among the other 8 people that were there with her. And so I got to experience my own show. This is something I created in OBS Studio with minimal knowledge, like bare minimum. YouTube University for sure. And give me just a minute.
One thing I find so interesting about that experience that Jim had with building X's and O's, we all heard the horror stories of what's happened. But what I thought was so neat is that he was building it as he was learning the process, as he was learning the platform, as he was learning the software, as he was finding his own voice, which is so wonderful. So you guys can do this too. A live show doesn't need to be intimidating. You don't need to be the master of your industry when you start. You can be like Jim. You can figure it out as you go. You can embrace it as you go. Fail faster, exactly. And learn from each of your guests, which is so important. Also, apparently, that's Tammy's cat.
Please come and pick it up.
Yes.
Yeah, it's available. It'll be available tethered to the fence outside.
It'll be there like this.
Yes. Just waiting for you. Cat drives me insane. So what's cool about these things is that we have a preconceived notion that we have to perform. Okay. We have to be this amazing host. We have to be stimulating, engaging, and we have to have all the answers. And you just don't. Okay. When you're forming your show, and if you just have a blank screen behind you and it's just you, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure. Just you and this is a lot. So don't make it that. Bring on guests. Bring on other people to start. Okay? And it makes it more engaging because they have other perspectives, experiences, people that they've encountered. Wins, fails, the whole spectrum in between of things that you can engage with. And now it doesn't become a performance, it becomes showcasing. Let me show, he's at it again. He's showcasing somebody else's talent. And by doing that, what's really cool is that as a tertiary benefit, it aligns you with their authority. And there are people that's all they do. Their entire show is aligning themselves with their guests. And they make entire businesses out of it because now there's an audience. You may think with your content that it's not, the KPIs aren't distinct and clear, which to a degree you're right. But what it is, and Alex Hermosi talks about this quite a bit, that when he started out content, he was like, this is BS. I make a piece of content and it's gone. Why would I do that? But then he learned from Caleb, who now continues to do his content, that it's not the monetary amount that's exponential, it's the audience. So you're exponentially growing your audience with every piece of content that you put out. Now, whether or not they buy something immediately really is inconsequential, because as you keep growing your audience and you keep showing them things, someone's going to want it. So the more people you show your offer to, the more feedback you get, the better offer you make, the more you sell. The more trust is gained, the more relationships are formed, the more referrals you get. And people get to see you in your element. I really think some of the best content you can make is literally just flipping a camera on while you're doing what you do best. So what do you do? Who do you help? Who do you serve? Show me. Because what we tend to do is we put up this wall between us and our audience, which is a landing page or an ad or whatever it may be. And we say, I promise it's good over here. It's real good over here. I'm going to need some things of you first. I'm going to need your attention and your cash. And then you get to see what it's like over here. Just show them. Just show them what it's like over there. Show them what it could be like. You know, Dan Henry, say what you will about him. I like him. I think that he has some things I don't agree with. But what he started doing recently with his content is he's literally coaching people. And some of them, he's cooking them. Because, you know, that's kind of part of his personality is he's got a little bit of an edge, right? He has to have that aspect to him to be entertaining. And that's fine. That's his thing. So he's coaching people and he's being harsh. He's like, listen, you got to stop this. You got to stop that. Quit being a little kid, time to grow up. Quit being a sissy or that kind of thing. He's really kind of hammering it home, kind of that Andrew Tate angle on business kind of thing, you know? And it's working for him. It's working for him, not because of all this entertainment jazz sprinkled in, but because people get to see what it's like over here. He's selling more because of it. He's doubling down because it's working. But if he hadn't tried all the things before, then he wouldn't have gotten to this point where he found a winner. So if you tried to write it down on paper of what he's doing now, you wouldn't get there. So my whole point to this is you have to allow yourself permission to fail and try and play. It's so critical in this and in all things really in your business and in your life. Permission to fail and play. Try. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're right where you are now. You're right back to square one, which is where you're sitting. If that's your worst case scenario, ship it, do it. You know? But we put in our minds all this crap. Blah, blah's going to say this, and Aunt Susan's going to say this, and what if they think, and I'm too fat, and I'm too skinny, I'm not successful, I'm too successful, I'm too old, I'm too young. Why? You're throwing roadblocks in front of you before you've even started. You haven't done anything yet. Allow yourself the room, the space, the capability to just try things. You know, a lot of people didn't agree with the quantity that Gary Vee said that need to go out for your content. And I'm one of them. I think that it's too much. But I do now, with Alex Hormozi, you know, kind of coming out and doing his thing, he did buckshot in the beginning. Just a bunch of different stuff And now I teach this to my clients, is that initially you do buckshot. You do a lot of different things within your realm, within your frame, mind you. So like the year of content is a good place to start here. But within that year of content process, which is absolutely incredible, if any of you guys haven't tried it, please try it. The videos are within the group for visibility hacking. They're very informative and very helpful. You can start there, okay? And I'll give you the basis right now. The basis is you have one thing you talk about for an entire year. You break that down into 4 things underneath that one big heading, the umbrella, one big thing. 4 pillars go underneath that. Then those 4 pillars get broken up into 4 different processes. And then under that are 4 different talking points for each one. That's it. Now, it's spelled out very methodically and easily in the documentation. But if you just want to take something and run with it, that's it. That's the gist of it. So now you've got that. Now you start just trying things from that list. Mix and match. Throw it into Google. See what other questions pop up when you throw it into Google. People also asked, thank you, Google. Use that. You go to Quora. Plug in your keywords. What's Quora asking? People are asking questions and no one's answering them. Be the person that answers them. So what live streaming does is it allows you, instead of all of this, to pick one house for all of your content to live under. And it allows your audience to give you live feedback and to be a part of the conversation, as opposed to you kind of throwing something out into the ether and then they either pick it up or they don't. Now, if someone's watching the show with you and they have questions right now, they're like, oh, you know what? I'd love to have a little more information on this. They can comment. Could you elaborate on that a little bit? And in that moment, I can address that comment and I can elaborate for them. So I'm overcoming objections live. This is stuff that you would catch in a call. Now I'm heading it off at the pass in the live that they're being exposed to, getting amazing value from, and I'm overcoming objections on the fly. By the time they get on the phone with you, there's already a trust. They've had all their objections overcome. They've already engaged with your content. They like you. They've seen you numerous times. They trust you. And hopefully they've seen what it's like to work with you. You know, you watch this show every Friday. We show you what it's like to work with us. We show you what coaching is like. We show you what our done-for-you services would perform as. Because the things that we're teaching you to do, we do. So if you like the way we do things, you reach out. And then we work with you. And that's wonderful. And that's a beautiful, wonderful thing that live streaming has given to myself and Molly's life, and also Lefty's life. You know, Lefty would have never met people like Robert J. Moore without this show. I would have never encountered Liz Benny, who's now a dear friend, without my shows. I would have never gotten to be to speak on the same virtual stage as Russell Brunson had it not been for my shows. And it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. But when constructing your show and you're starting out, you're going to have somebody else with you. It's really important that you guys mix well. It's very, very important that you two augment each other, that you support each other, and you don't want to have necessarily two badly clashing perspectives unless that's the intent of the show.
Yep.
You know, how they have like the Republican and Democrat on one
the
show.
good cop and the bad cop.
Good cop, bad cop, good, evil, blah, blah. You know, like the whole thing. You can do that, and it's very engaging and entertaining. Inherently, mind you. So if you want to have a show that is already entertaining from the start, have someone that disagrees with you, but achieves the same goal. It has to have a goal, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you just love creating content, that's fantastic. Do that. But if you're doing it for the purpose of business and generating business, it's different. You need to make sure that the content is serving the audience, giving them what they need, and of course, showing off what you can do to assist them. So you're instilling trust, you're giving value, and then you're letting them know, listen, if you need more of this help, more than is supplied by this frame, then here's this. And that happens to be your business. But, and there's the Mr. Beast angle. There's either Mr. Beast or there's the business angle. Mr. Beast, enjoyment. Yes, he makes money from it, but he makes money for very different reasons. Sponsorships, brand deals, people that want to align with the audience that he's created. Beautiful, amazing. And if that's something you want to do, pursue that. Absolutely pursue that. It can be very, very fruitful. But if you have a business and you're wanting to use content to generate attention and eyeballs on your mission, your message, or your movement in this crazy, noisy marketplace, then you do it this way. So you kind of have to decide which avenue you want to take. And now some of you out there are watching this and you go, I don't want to do either. Bring me clients. I don't care. I don't want to be on camera. Just bring me the clients. Then ads is probably your avenue. If you're going to fight it that hard, go into ads. And you're going to end up having to bring on somebody to be the persona that leads the company, or you're going to have to figure out some other different perspective. You're going to have to partner with somebody essentially who's going to be the face of the company. So my recommendation is either overcome or find someone that will. Yeah. Because to have this personal relationship, there has to be a person.
What?
I mean,
wait. You mean not all of these successful brands are just robots and fully automated
I know
that are being run by people
it's
in underwear?
very confusing. So
wait. If businesses and the people who are showing up to be the faces of those businesses are real people, does that mean the customers are real people too?
Unfortunately, yes.
So that means we should stop making content just to feed some computerized algorithm, and instead we should create content for other people.
Absolutely.
I think I figured out why businesses have been making such bad content out there. It's quite obvious they are creating content not for their customers.
Quantity without qualification is going to be a failure every time.
Yeah.
So you need to be constantly saying, okay, and when you're starting out, that got 5 views. Cool. Yeah. That got 0. Okay. This got 10 views. That got 50 views. Let's look into that. Let's expand. So you slash and burn the losers and you expand on the winners. It's another way that you can keep doing it. And then eventually you get to the point to where you're an Alex Hormozi. My name is Alex Hormozi, and I've made $100 million doing this, this, and this, and I have nothing to sell you. I do these trainings so that I can make sure that you can overcome the obstacles that I had to overcome. And if you happen to hit 1 to 3 million, then reach out. We'd like to help out by being a minority stake owner.
Fabulous.
That's very specific. But he had to do a lot to get there. Okay. But you got to start somewhere. And when you start out, you have to do kind of a buckshot approach. And so that's within your year of content. You're trying all these different things. And some of them are going to resonate with your audience more than others. And others are going to fall short because it's not what they want to hear about. So I'll give you an example. Okay. Let's take a life coach. someone that may say, listen, it's all about mental state. I encounter, let's say they work with men that are 35 to 45, and they're helping them to get off the couch, get moving, and improve their lives. That's BS. You're not helping anybody. You got to narrow down. So like, instead of, I guess the best way you can create content is the easier that you can deliver your offer. The way you deliver your offer is by trying content. So it's kind of the cyclical thing that kind of perpetuates, right? So we, excuse me, COVID. We try things, and what resonates, we try in our messaging. It gives you hints about what to plug into the gaps, okay? So you try out life coaching, and it's just not hitting. But you try out, because within your coaching is health, fitness, diet, and mindset, okay? So you try out some mindset content, you try out some fitness content, and you try out some diet content. Fitness hits. Does that mean you ignore these other two things? No. Those are added benefits now to your fitness product. Okay? So you're still talking about the same stuff. It's just packaged differently. Okay? So now you become a fitness person who now allows you to be well-rounded because you're also covering diet and mindset. But that's what hit with people. They are really engaged with that. They love that, the fitness part of it. So if they had hit on mindset, now you talk about how mindset's absolutely critical, and supporting characters of that are diet and exercise. But it's the audience telling you, I trust and respect this information coming from you. This is what I want from you. Now, does that mean that they discredit the other things that you're good at? No. It just means that when it comes to your persona, your personality, your experience, your life, the thing that they value the most is, in this case, fitness. Mm-hmm. Now, the other things that you have to offer are supporting to that, or bonuses. Okay? So that's how we need to think about our content, is that whatever our content is telling us, there's KPIs there to study. There's data points. We're just not paying attention. We just keep throwing spaghetti at the wall. That didn't work. Let's try a whole new slew of stuff. Those didn't work, but like they did. The audience told you something, whether they told you a big butt kiss or they gave you views and they gave you engagements. And mind you, engagements are not always the ultimate character. They are not the ultimate qualifier. If you read the comments and they're just talking weird stuff, those aren't potential clients. You have an audience content mismatch, which means Aunt Susan's going to like every one of your videos. She's not going to buy. So you need to change up your audience as well. So I would start with, if you don't know which one the problem is, start with audience. Bring in some fresh eyes that you know are a perfect fit for you by either adding them in groups or making a post in a group that's a value post, and people, around your center of expertise, and the people that comment on that and really engage with it, add them as a friend. Start a relationship. Don't dive in for the kill, because these initial people are going to give you some startup info. This is your startup info. So you form a relationship with them and you ask them what they liked about the post. You're just starting out and you want to know stuff that they would like to know about that topic. That's your foundation. That's your starting point. So you put that out into the world. Start making content around those items that they tell you. And then you ask those same people, hey, what'd you think of that last post I made? I made that based off our conversation. Mm-hmm. Oh, that was super valuable, or it didn't really hit for me. I was actually thinking more like this. Okay, cool. Because now they're your feedback people. They're just as good as clients. This is feedback time. And so now they give you enough to start with to where you can do a buckshot from there. Okay. So let's give an example here, Molly. Let's say, give me a topic that I may be a coach of.
You are a coach for men who want more time with their sons by going fishing.
Okay. So what I may bring, I do a post about what's the pain point that these people are dealing with. So they're feeling like they're not connecting with their children, maybe. They're feeling like these are lost years.
Yeah.
They're feeling like they want to give their childhood to their children.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of that happens, and they're maybe missing the mark. So I would create some value posts in some groups that I know have people that I would like to work with in talking about these topics. I'm not selling anything. I'm giving value. And now maybe someone posts in there, oh my God, absolutely. Like, I just wish that I could figure out a way to make time in my schedule to do that. Oh, okay. There's an angle. Time management. Okay. So that's the real pain that they're talking about there. Another person may say, I feel like I can't connect with my kids. Okay. So that's not being able to align yourself with the values of your children as they grow older and finding ways to make connection. So that's maybe a little more on life coaching. Okay. So maybe someone else posts something different, but all these people have contributions that they've given back to your piece of value. So now you reach out and you add them as friends. You form a relationship. There are no sales happening here. Okay. They're telling you what to sell. So listen. This is listen time. Okay. This is literally from scratch, by the way, from nothing to something. Okay. So, excuse me, the throat got me again. So COVID, I tell you. So now you have them as friends and you want to form a relationship. So you talk to them like a friend. Thank you so much for contributing to that post. It really touched me. This is my experience. I disconnected from my son, and fishing actually brought us back together again. And it was something that we shared. And I just want to know, like, could you tell me a little bit more about your story? It was really interesting to me. And they're going to give you something of themselves. And then you let them know kind of what you're thinking of doing, that this is not a sale, that you're looking to form something around this idea, this general thought. And they're going to give you feedback because you're being a person, a friend. And so now you say, listen, I'm going to put out some content this week. I would love to get your opinion on it. Would you mind doing that? Yeah. When you post it, just let me know and I'll check it out. So you post it, you go back into these friend conversations. Hey, I just posted it. If you wouldn't mind checking it out, I'd really appreciate getting your feedback. They check it out and they go, you know what? I really enjoy this, but anything after the but is what you need to focus on. So now they say, let's say you told a story about how overcoming time management allowed you to spend more time with your child and you found this common ground of fishing. And he says, you know what? That is awesome. It's not really my experience. My experience is more with this. And then you ask the next friend, the next friend, the next friend, and you see a trend. Now you see maybe that trend is actually talking about the life coaching aspect. I need to be able to connect with my child as they grow and that they're not going to grow away from me, that we grow together. Okay. So now you talk about the things that you did to align yourself better with your children so that you could stay in their lives and they'd want to stay in yours too. Okay. So now I tell a story about that and I get 9 out of 12 friends who are like, that was killer. I'm going to use that tonight. Thank you so much. Cool. I have a foundation. I have something I can stand on and build upon. So now I do a buckshot from there of a bunch of different angles. So my one thing I'm going to talk about for the year now is that life coaching. And I'm going to break that down to my 4 pillars, my 4 features, and then the 4 talking points. And so now out of all those things, I see what's working and what's not. I kill the ones that aren't working and I expand on the ones that are. And you have an Excel sheet. You actually will measure these things. And as you go along and you keep going in that successful direction, you'll notice that your views go up and up and up and up and up and up. And your audience builds up and up and up and up and up. And it's a long game. And now you could also, instead of doing these pieces of content, do live stream. And now with live streaming, you come on every week and you talk about one of those topics. Maybe you bring on one of those friends and you ask them about their experience and about where they would like to go and the things that they've tried and the successes and failures. And maybe you bring on some people that were successful, maybe some people that fell short, and you talk about those experiences. And maybe you have a mastermind group of men that get together and they talk about how to connect with their children. So you're growing the entire time in a focused direction now. It's not just throwing spaghetti at the wall. And you're letting people know the whole way through that they're valued, you respect their opinion and their time. So live streaming just kind of cuts out a lot. And then you can also create short form content, which is incredibly popular right now, from these. So every question you ask your guest is a short form piece of content. So let's say I ask Molly right now, Molly, what was your favorite experience with live streaming?
Oh, my favorite experience with live streaming was when we got to interview Catherine Jones. Surprise! While we were at she was at Funnel Hacking Live, and we were doing the show, the pre-show at home, early mornings, and we were literally wrapping up the last episode. And I'm literally saying to people, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. And bam, Catherine Jones comes in and just spread some great joy. And that was just like such a wonderful unspoken moment that I will never forget.
And that could be a short form piece of content. You cut that out right there. Good to go. Okay. Another one, if you want to go in the value direction, which I highly recommend, of course, is, let's say, how can I set up a situation to where something as carefree and fun and spontaneous like that can happen?
Well, it takes work ahead of time, and that's knowing your people, building that network, having those relationships ahead of time so that you can call on that network when you need them. For example, same show I was just talking about. Catherine Jones came on, delivered that great moment of joy, but also we got other great moments in that show when Leslie let us see the behind the scenes kind of VIP area. Awesome. We got a great walkthrough. The time that McCall Jones took someone else's phone and just walked us through the whole event, through the elevators and everything. All of those moments are because of the network of people that we've built and the relationships we have with them and the relationships they have with their friends and so on and so forth. So you can cut that into a few different shorts.
But there you go. So you break up your shorts now in accordance with questions. Okay. Yep. So if you think of it that way, shorts become incredibly simple to make. And you just break it down into questions. So if I wanted to make a piece of short form content that would give value around how to have sporadic, fun, surprising moments in your content, that is a great piece of content right there that she just gave. And so now let's say people really respond to that and they want more ways to have inject surprising, fun things into their shows. Maybe we either, one, create a new show, or two, we create more questions based around that topic to prove our hypothesis. So maybe we bring on that person that was so fun and alive for us. We bring on a McCall or whatever, Catherine, and we'd say, why did you choose to do that day? Yeah. What made you take that phone and run? Why didn't you just say, I'm busy?
Yeah.
And then that could be a new piece of content and people are really engaged in that. So now it's like, okay, we have confirmation that the marketplace really likes this topic. So now we have a crossroads. We start a new show, or we have a segment of our show that addresses that. And we talk about cool ways that we figured out this week to inject this excitement into your show in a very loose and a freeing way that doesn't feel contrived. But that's how you get there.
Yeah.
That's the process to get from A to B. We try to think, what's the perfect content? I'm going to think about this for 3-4 months before I make a move. And that's just not going to work, because A, you're not testing anything. You're not getting any feedback. The market's not telling you anything. So you don't know. You just don't know. It's like creating a brand new product without ever asking the market what they want. That's terrifying. The chances of you making it are slim to none. So you go out and you try things and you get responses from the market, and they tell you how to interact with them. They tell you what they want from you. You just got to listen. But if we try to be perfect from the very start, it's a setup for failure. And not good failure either. Failure that stops progress in its tracks. There's good failure, and then there's failure that is designed in a way to force you to stop. And we here on the show are big fans of failure, and we are big fans of making failures all the time, as fast as we possibly can, because that leads us to our best successes. But we don't set ourselves up for failures that lead to a stop, because that's when you really fail, is when you stop. When you say, that's it. That's the real failure. If you don't stop, you won't fail. You will find your course, your path, your way. The only way you truly fail is by stopping and giving up. And if you set yourself up for that, then there's no alternative. There's no way to deviate and figure something else out. You set yourself up for a stop. So instead of saying, I'm going to be perfect out of the gate, say, I'm going to move today. And today I'm going to make a move on this, and I'm going to create something. Even if it's only for you, it's a start. Create it on your phone just for yourself. Get into the habit of interacting with this thing. Because there's other people on the other side of it that probably are in pain and could really use your help right now. And if you're not actively engaging with them, it's going to continue. And that's what helps me to show up. That's what helped me to show up today with COVID, is that hopefully this is helping you. Is that even though I have an eye that's partially shut down, I got a stupid cough, my voice sounds like Barry White on a bender, I'm still here delivering you value, and hopefully you're seeing that part of it, and that you're getting value out of this. And please let me know in the comments if you're finding value in this and if finding it helpful. The way to start a live show, in my opinion, is with someone else. Have it be a two-person thing. So that way it takes the pressure off of you, and it takes the pressure off of them. And then you can have a conversation. And at one point, you'll actually forget that this is there. And that's when you get the good stuff. That's when the real conversation happens, is when you forget that this is over there. And then eventually, once you get comfortable with this just being around you, then you can engage with the audience. And you can answer their questions, and you can allow them to have an effect on where the content goes. And that's when it becomes special. It's when you have that two-way street with your audience. And that allows you to get one step closer to them and one step closer to you. So the initial fun frame is just to have somebody else to talk to. Takes the pressure off. And then if you decide after that you want to do something different, great. but it's a stepping stone to get you to where you can stand on your own if you so choose. There are shows that exist as interview shows forever, like Impact Theory. Impact Theory will always be an interview show. And it's done incredibly well. Incredibly well. And there's a ton of those shows that, they bring on Alex Hormozzi's of the world and they grill them about some facet of their lives or their path. And that's the content. And then they also have masterminds and courses and coaching on the back end about all of the collective knowledge that they've gained from those interviews. That has value. And you can obviously sell that. And because it has value, that experience that you've underwent. And organizing all that value in a meaningful way also has a great amount of value to another person. So where they don't have to go through 200 episodes of a show, you've deciphered that, boiled that down to its best bits that someone can use in their life, and they will pay for that. I have paid for that numerous times to disseminate a large breadth or chunk of value that someone has given over a course of time, and they've brought that down to a book, course, or coaching. I have bought those, and they have been incredibly worth it. So there's so many different ways you can go. I would just say find the goal first. Make sure you have your goal in mind first and build from there. They say build backwards, right, from your goal. So if your goal is to get more people to buy your funnel services, then you need to make content talking about the different avenues or the different facets of a funnel and how what you do is overcoming that. Or show you reviewing people's funnels. Or show you coaching someone on their funnel. Showing you doing what you do best. Show me so that I can trust you and work with you. That's really what it boils down to, just to get moving. It's just show me what you do. Like Office Space. What do you do here? Show me what you do. And that's great content. So I think that's a great place to start. And if you do an interview show and you're just learning about, say, same scenario, you're selling funnel services. You interview people that have succeeded using funnels where they didn't before. So this is the funnel overview, or this is the funnel overcoming with funnels, or something like that. And so I had a brick and mortar and I made 60 grand a year, and it sucked. And I was just making it by. I incorporated a little bit of e-com and this funnel, and now I'm making 120 grand. I doubled up. Awesome. Tell me your story. How'd you get from here to here? Ask them engaging questions along the way. And when I say engaging, it means it denotes a response more than yes or no. Mm-hmm. Open-ended questions, right? So what are some questions that one could ask in that particular kind of show? What made you start a brick and mortar? What made you go there? What was your biggest challenge? What was your biggest challenge in doing that?
What was your biggest fear?
What got you going towards funnel land? What was the first thing that you heard about funnels? Where did you even hear about it?
When did you know it was working?
When did you know it was working? Exactly. When did you know that the old way you used to do it was no longer the way you would continue to do it going forward? Yeah. And now where do you see yourself going from here? That's a show.
Open-ended questions, my friends. Who, what, where, when, why, how. Not if. Not
and the questions we just asked makes an hour show.
Yeah.
Or half-hour show, depending on what you want to do.
You can even pick out the exact same questions and ask the same questions every single episode to different people. And now, bam, you have your show completed for the next many,
and now after years. You do 50 or so of these this way, now you can get more into research. Yeah. And with research comes very interesting questions, because now you need to step up your caliber of people you're interviewing. You can start tiering up. So now I'm going to pull from the next rung of people. So if I've been dealing with people that are my same level, I'm going to take a step up. And I'm going to start interviewing them because now I have the experience of 50 episodes. Now I'm seen as not just an overnight thing. I'm a serious show now. I can start going after next tier people. But you go after them, they've been asked a lot of questions. You want to try and go into what some of the content they've already created, things that get them engaged and interested. The same thing you're doing with your content, you would do with your interviews. Is you see what's working and what's not, you slash the ones that aren't, you expand on what did. And when I say what's working with them, when did they light up? Mm-hmm. Oh, they asked them about their kid, and their kid was their big why. They lit up big time. I'm going to ask some family-oriented questions. Mm-hmm. Oh, they lit up real big when we talked about what it was like when they first got started and they had a big failure. That big failure ended up making them multimillionaires in the end. But at that moment, that really affected them deeply. And it was a really engaging question. Cool. I'm going to take that. I'm not going to take that same question, but I'm going to expand on it. So now I have questions they haven't been asked before, but I know will light them up. Mm-hmm. So it requires a little research. But you can continue that forever. That could be your content, is an interview show. And I recommend to everyone doing live streaming or just creating content in general, if you're having problems just breaking loose that rust and just getting moving, start with interviews.
Yeah.
Just start with interviews. It's the place to be because then it's not just you. It takes the pressure off of you and it allows it to be on us. Okay, so now instead of 100% on me, it's 50-50. And I'm just asking you questions because I'm genuinely interested in you. And you're genuinely interested in my story as well. We're just learning about each other. And it's going to be a little awkward in the beginning. But then you get into just a comfort level. And once you get to that comfort level, you can move. And you can make other things happen. But just to get that rust off, you just do an interview. Is my best recommendation for you. My first show was X's and O's. Crazy beginning. But that came from me wanting to be perfect out of the gate. And so me wanting to be perfect out of the gate led to 3 years of not making content. Until we hit COVID. And I realized this is a special time. I need to not get hung up by my own thoughts. I need to just make something and I want it to look like a UFO going through your timeline. That was my only thought I had. That was the first thought I had about it. Was I want it to be bizarre because everyone's locked up in the house and they're just going to be scrolling. And I want something that's going to make them go, what was that? And that was where it all started. And I thought, what would also engage people? Ooh, a game. What kind of game? Well, television. What's games are on television? Game shows. Ooh, game shows. What kind of game shows used to exist that were really popular that I can model? Oh, Hollywood Squares. Cool. And then it just kept. And I didn't allow myself to think about anything for more than maybe 10, 15 minutes. Each of those steps was like, oh, what about that? What about that? Go down the YouTube hole for a second. Okay, cool. Grab that. Boom, boom, boom. And I was just like a recipe you're making in your kitchen with no, you have the ingredients, but you don't have the recipe. You're like, that sounds good. That sounds good. That'll probably go together. Yeah, that'll go. And I tossed in whatever I thought would be cool and fun. And I tried to just make it work. And that worked. It worked great for me. And everything went wrong. And it still went great. But the thing that I tried to actively do, and I had to keep telling myself it because I had the crazy thinking. I had the stupid thing. I still do on occasion where I just tell myself, oh, you're not good enough. You're not smart enough, whatever it may be. It still gets in there. But I said, I'm going to set this aside for now, and I'm going to do it anyway. I'll address that after. And because of that, I've been able to make a career out of it. Lefty somewhat made it without a face, mind you. But any closing remarks from your side, Miss Molly, on the power of live streaming and just content creation with the effect of, or the intent of, engaging with your audience?
Oh man. Well, the idea, like the theme for today's episode is live streaming as the new town hall. So if we look back and we think of the core of a town hall, it's, well, you have a politician who shows up, they have a little bit of a prepared remark, but then people are there to ask questions and get an answer. And the beauty of it is that everyone gets to hear the answer. Everyone gets to benefit from that. It grows the conversation in a large public forum, and live streaming absolutely lets us do that. We've had the experiences before where we have guests on the show where we have that conversation, and then we have comments from our live listeners. And so we can bring those comments up live, which is fabulous. That changes what we talk about. And then the conversation continues in the comments where listeners, other audience members are talking to each other, where we jump in a couple days later and we add to the conversation. To the viewers who are watching not live, they're watching on the replay, they're commenting again. It's this conversation that can keep going. So as much as I want to bring this right back to the beginning, when you're having that conversation with Steve Larson and you're relating the live show to the original format of media, I think the way that live shows are designed, when you design them correctly, I think they're actually more powerful than an in-person town hall, because they allow that conversation to continue. And with access to all of our live shows in literally the palm of your hand, in your pocket, you can access them at any time. That keeps the conversation going in a much more convenient format than getting everyone together in the same room. And I think that's so cool that we can use technology to add to those discussions, add to those connections we're making with everyone. And I think that's pretty cool. So
well said. I completely agree.
I got to say.
I completely agree. So my encouragement to you guys out there is to get out there and make something.
Yeah.
Get out there and try something. Tag us on it. Allow us to gloat about you. We will light up those comments. We will start the conversations. We want to see you guys win and succeed, because that is what gets us motivated. That's why we make this show.
Absolutely.
We want to see you win. So get out there and make something. Does it have to be live streaming? No. Does it have to be short form? No.
No.
Can it be an email, newsletter? Yeah, absolutely. Get out there and make something and allow people to give you feedback. And don't be afraid of that feedback, even if it's nothing, because it's still telling you something.
Absolutely.
So,
oh man,
we appreciate you guys spending your time here. It's the most valuable resource you have. So thank you so much again for being here with us. And we will see you on the next one. Molly.
I'm just going to remind you guys, next week we're talking camera confidence. We'll be here Friday Night Live as usual talking about it. We've got new videos coming out on the Visibility Hackers YouTube channel all about camera confidence. And for those of you who want to take us with you on the road, whatnot, why haven't you subscribed to Visibility Hacking Radio, the best podcast in the world? Because we're also talking about camera confidence next week over there as well. 3 episodes a week. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. And of course, you can always join us on Spotify. The podcast is on Spotify. And we have these cool tools, talking about engagement, cool tools where we can ask you polls and questions. You can put in your feedback, and you can even leave us a voice message, which we'll either answer on the podcast or here on Friday Night Live. So yeah, so many ways to get in touch. So much going on. But we'll see you back here next week. Until we see you again, remember, I love you. Be excellent to each other.